If you're anything like me, figuring out where to begin can be a daunting task when you're already busier than ever and managing more variables than you imagined possible when you were in school. I'm going to tell on myself a little bit here. Most of the aviators on the training here learned to fly a lot younger than I did. You perhaps hadn't driven a car for 500,000 miles before you learned that an airplane is steered on a taxiway with your feet, not your hands. Old habits are hard to unlearn. My poor flight instructor could tell you I was not a quick study. Even though I was awarded a private pilot certificate last year, just 4 weeks after I began my flight training, we spent 95 hours in the Cessna 172 to do it. It was intense. I experienced more frustration than I ever imagined. At times, it was nerve-wracking, like learning short field takeoffs and landings on a short, narrow airfield surrounded by pine trees in the Sierra foothills. Watch this video. It's a little bitty strip with no taxiway, fuel on one side, and airport camping on the other. Doesn't landing workplace culture feel a little like this? Y'all, my palms are sweating just reliving that. And for those of you who are wondering who was filming from the left seat, this was my instructor's landing after I performed it correctly 5 or 6 times. Honest. Whew, that's scary. Being so immersed in flight as I was getting my license is what led me to an understanding that in order for our companies to really soar, our workplace culture must be balanced by the same kind of forces that enable us as mere humans to experience the miracle of flight. I remember having a pilot friend tell me that what makes airplanes fly is money. True, 100% true. But there are also 4 forces necessary for effective flight. Lift is provided by the changing dynamic of the air over the airfoil or wing. It elevates the entire aircraft. Thrust comes from the propulsion in the engine, which is created by the proper combination of fuel, air, and fire. Gravity, or some say weight, is what brings us back down to earth. Weightless flight is aimless at the whim of the wind. And finally, drag. Though technically drag is not necessary for flight, it's a byproduct of having any sort of mass, and it is the control of the drag that directs a flight toward an altitude, a heading, and ultimately a destination. As a passenger, straight and level flight is smooth and easy. But the truth is the pilot, or in some cases, the autopilot, is making constant inputs or adjustments to maintain the ability for people to be about their business and arrive at the agreed upon destination. Are you following me? Yay! Let's look at how this correlates to workplace culture. Lift elevates. So does respect. Respect is defined as due regard for the feelings, wishes, rights, or tradition of others. That may mean coworkers, leaders, customers. Respect also extends to the policies or processes at a company. It comes across as listening to others' points of view and explaining our perspective in a non-confrontational manner. It looks like awareness of the toll our requests will make on another person or department's time or resources. Respect as an employee can mean taking the extra time to identify a potential solution or two instead of going to your boss with problems. As a manager, your employees are better equipped to adhere to company policies when the expectations about their performance are clear. My mentor once told me that if we treat our employees like they are volunteers, they feel valued and appreciated. However, He did not say to pay them like volunteers. One of the ways to show respect is by compensating workers well for their value to the company, with both wages and benefits. When respect is not present in an organization, we're on our way to quick escalation or deterioration. If something disrupts the flow of air over the wing, ice, a bird, a gust of wind, heat convections, we must immediately take action to keep the airplane in the air or get it safely to the ground. We cannot always eliminate turbulence, but we can make adjustments. The same is true in our businesses. Respect generally shows up in verbal and nonverbal communication across teams, leadership, policies, priorities, and processes. An abundance of respect creates a strong culture, and its disregard, well, it's disruptive at best. Thrust, or forward momentum, is fueled by resources. And just like a plane can sit on the ramp full of fuel and not be moving, a company can be flush with cash and going nowhere. To create forward momentum, we also need a spark or a change agent, if you will. In order to burn for a measured period of time, a spark needs a steady flow or mixture of air. When we relate this to company culture, we should see that our organization needs physical resources like mechanical drawings, equipment, and payroll. It also needs some breathing room through the appropriate level of autonomy. We are not robots, after all. And the organization needs a catalyst for something different to happen. Remember the old adage that we don't get somewhere new by trying the same thing over and over again, expecting better results. Resources can be additional staff members to an overextended team. They can be professional development or integrated software systems. They can be budgetary or even the proper amount of time to meet a deadline or deliver a job. Properly resourced teams rarely burn out. And good leaders, like good pilots, monitor the mixture of all these elements to ensure the best effectiveness and efficiency. We are digging deep in the middle school science class with this next force. There is no weight without gravity. Likewise, our organizations are unlikely to make a lasting impact without a weightiness or reasons for existence, right? It's what helps us to land at our destination instead of being carried away by changing winds. And boy, have there been a lot of those lately. With the pace of innovation today, everyone younger than us, than either of us, will have more choices than we did when it comes to occupations. I'm in Gen X. As I've aged, I've become more and more focused on the impact I'll leave as my legacy. As with most millennials and Gen Zers, my kids developed a stronger determination to prioritize mission over job. Their generations want to work as part of a bigger purpose, not to move into the corner office and get the 30-year work anniversary Rolex. They also need to know that their role in the company has purpose. And not surprisingly, their job satisfaction rises when they know how that fits into the bigger picture. Companies need the order found in reasons or purpose, kind of like flights do. I know you've been on a flight where during the safety briefing you could tell the flight attendant had to look down and read where the plane was scheduled to go. Just last weekend, I heard, on our way to Austin today. Imagine if the pilot didn't know. If she can't articulate to air traffic control the purpose of the flight, she won't get clearance to even take off, at least not in a commercial operation. Reasons matter. Equally important to all the other forces, lift or respect, thrust or resources, and weight or reasons is the pilot's or leader's control of the airship's direction. This is accomplished through inputs to drag, or in company terms, realignment. Whether you have a strategic plan or a flight plan, unless your operation is completely autonomous, you'll need to make adjustments. Winds or changes may blow you off course. You may need to divert due to changing conditions at your planned destination. Like fog or a pandemic. Something unexpected may happen, like an electrical fire, an engine failure, or a passenger with a medical emergency. For business, a regulatory shift, a disruptive competitor, the loss of a key employee or client. Regular checkpoints, awareness, accountability, and adjustments can avert disasters in our organizations the same way they do in the air. I don't want to get on any sort of political soapbox here, but what if, like pilots, government leaders had to prove they could handle all sorts of different emergencies as a qualification to take the job? But before I point too many fingers, what if as leaders, or even just humans on a planet with other humans, we made regular adjustments? We realigned to continue on the course to the destination we wanted. Trust me, smooth landings don't just happen. They require respect, the proper combination of resources, reasons, or weight, and the proper alignment or realignment in the landing pattern. Sometimes they aren't smooth, even when you have all those forces working together. But some people say any landing you can walk away from is a good landing. Which one of those 4 forces is the area where you see the most growth potential at your organization? Pop your answer into the chatter comments or DM me and let me know. Trust me, I hear all 4 answers regularly. They are all important. Perhaps the most critical thing we overlook in addressing culture is the fact that all 4 forces need to be in balance. If we focus on respect without keying in on reasons for each person's role as well as the mission of the company, we could be pandering. If we're hyper-vigilant about reasons without respecting the people who make it happen, we deflate creativity and innovation. Likewise, if we pour resources into an effort without directing where we're going, monitoring progress, and realigning how we plan to arrive, we may end up with delays, smaller profits, or undesirable course corrections. Constant change without resources also feels short-sighted. I hope you're saying, I get it, whether you're a pilot or not. Our culture, every culture, needs to have balance to be really effective. It also needs buy-in and positive contributions from everyone involved. That means you. If you know you have some deeper work to do here, I would love to invite you to join me for a half-day workshop, which includes some pretty intense attention to this critical area. An employee culture survey, a deep dive on values, how your policies line up with or hinder your organization's purpose, and practical ways to improve communications. You'll end the workshop with measurable goals and an opportunity to institute accountability for achieving them. You can visit the aviationcollective.com/workshop if you already know this is for you.